Hey artists, today we're going to be thinking about perspective again, and we're going to be showing one of those really cool aquarium walkways where the water goes all around you and above you and the fish are swimming everywhere. So follow along with me and I'll show you all the steps to make your own aquarium. Okay, we are going to get started with this awesome tunnel of aquarium fish. To show that perspective where it looks like we're starting on the track and we're going further down the tunnel, we've got to draw those perspective lines. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go from this corner to this corner and do a really straight line. If you have a ruler or you want to use a straight edge, you can. I'm just going to wing it. I'm just going to say, okay, come trace it with my finger first. There I'm going to go. Corner to corner. Boom. Going to do the same thing on this side, corner to corner. Boom. Awesome. This will show the floor that's going like toward the aquarium and then the walls and the ceiling of the aquarium. So the first thing I want to do is I'm thinking about like the glass. There's like big glass windows in this aquarium where you can see the fish and everything swimming behind it. To hold that up, they usually have like these metal poles. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to draw like 3 or 4 lines, and they're going to start, they're going to be a little smaller down here, and then it gets a little bit bigger and a little bit bigger, and one more. Awesome. Now what you do on this side, we're going to repeat over here. So first I see I had one little line there. I'm going to mirror it over. There's my little line there. Pretty close. Now this one, you can even use your finger to help you measure and go, okay, the next one is about a finger space. So I did this, I need to do one more here. And then my final tall one here. Okay, so we have our perspective lines, and then these are the windows in the little tunnel that kind of hold up the glass for the aquarium. The next thing I want to do is a curved line showing where they connect. So here I'm going to go up, curve, and down. We're going to do it again. Up, curve, and down. Again, up, curve, and down. Okay, I can tell already that this is going to go flying off the page, so that's okay. We just imagine it's going to go up, curve, off the page, and then over here it's going to go up and curve, off the page. Now this aquarium tunnel is really starting to take shape. I can see that here's the floor, and I imagine like I'm this little person like, and I'm going down the hallway to the exit way down there, and I'm looking through this wonderful glass ceiling and these glass walls all filled with the fish and the jellyfish and the turtles and all the sea life that I'm checking out. Now for the floor. We want to show like some perspective on the floor too. So I am just going to make a little dot in the middle, if you can see that right there, and then I'm going to divide it in half, so like here, and then on this side I'll divide it in half there. Okay, so there's one in the middle, and then I put one in the middle of that and one in the middle of that. Now we're going to divide those up too, so here, 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 and here. I don't know if you can see what we did there. We did one in the middle, then we broke that up, and then we put one in between. So we had these little guidelines, these little guide dots here, and we're going to have each one go toward that vanishing point, and that's going to make our floor. So this one just goes nice and straight up to the point. Now I'm going to kind of erase it. They don't need to be that tall because they're going to go at an angle like this toward that point, toward the point, toward the point. So I'm starting at that point, bring it down to our little spots. Awesome. And I can kind of erase where our guidelines were. Okay, so now the floor looks like it's kind of starting here and it's going whoop back there. If we want to have a striped carpet, you can. I think that the checkers look really cool. So you're just going to draw a line going across and another one going across. And we're going to make the spaces a little bigger as we come closer in perspective. A little bit bigger. And then this will be the biggest one. Bloop. Okay, so cool. Now, we are going to go over all of these lines with our black marker. So you're going to grab your black marker. And you're just going to carefully go around all the lines that you drew. So your curve lines, your straight lines, you're just going to very carefully go over them with your black marker. And this part does take a little bit of time, so don't rush. Take your time to try to keep them about as straight as you have in there. And like I said, you're welcome to use a ruler if that helps you. I didn't, and I think it'll still look just fine. So going up and over. Then I'm going to also make sure that I've followed this line. So really we're going to go over every line you did with pencil now that we've got them where we want them, and we're going to outline it with black. Ooh, that took a little time. Now that we have every line covered, I would say that we do want to kind of thicken up this line right here just to show that it starts a little thicker and then gets thinner, thinner, thinner. So you just kind of make the top part of it a little bit fatter and then have it go down till it gets skinny. And we're going to do that on both sides. Things that are closer to the edge are supposed to be like closer to you and seem bigger. And then things that are further down toward the middle are supposed to be further away. All right, so now we have that beam get kind of bigger and smaller, and that really helps with the look. The next thing we're gonna do is color this checkered floor. Now this can get super confusing because you're like, uh-oh. So what I like to do first is I just put like a little dot, and I'm like, that one, skip that one, then this one. Skip it, dot, skip it, dot, and then I know which ones to color in. So if that one has the dot, I want to skip this one and go here. So every other one gets a dot, and that way I make sure I don't accidentally color in two squares next door to each other. So this one, that one has a dot, so this one doesn't. So this one won't, but this one will. This seems silly, but it really helps you from making a mistake. Awesome. Now I've got every other one colored in, and I can go ahead and color in those little shapes. So as you color this in, it just starts to look really cool because then you can see it's like a checkered floor. All right, coloring in the checkers took a little extra time, but what a cool checkered floor that you can see is bigger at the front and gets smaller as it goes to the back. Now, this is the part that's super fun. You get to draw any sea life you would like. I like to start with a little bit of like sea plants that I know are like little seaweeds growing. And so I just think about if I was standing under the water, there's just tons and tons of water, and this glass is holding it back, but you can see the fish coming right over you, swimming next to you. They're all over the place. So you could have like the bottom of a fish. Look, he's going this way. It's just like, actually that almost looks more like a shark. And so it's like the underside of them just swimming along in the background. So you can have where you can see like their belly going by. So that's like underneath him. I could have underneath a turtle. you can just see like under his little belly coming right through. Just swimming past. Maybe I will have just some little fish coming by here. Maybe a little school of fish. They're all kind of looking the same direction. So you can be filling this aquarium with all kinds of sea life. So these little guys are going further away. Now don't forget that things over here are bigger and things back here are smaller. So when you get to the far back, you might have some really tiny things back there. And when you're up close, maybe you have like a big old jellyfish. And then maybe I've got another jellyfish over here hanging out. I'm trying to think of what other cool sea life we could have in here. Ooh, I could have a starfish floating around. And you can use your crayons and your markers and just really get wild with it. Big fish. Ooh, we could try a puffer fish. I'm trying to think what color I want to do that guy. Maybe with my brown. I know they have kind of like an open mouth, and then they puff up real big. Oh, they look real fat, and then they have a little tail and a big eye and all these little spikies on them. So this part is fun. Just start filling your whole aquarium with different sea life. So I've just been adding in more sea life, like a seahorse, a fish, different fish, but I was also thinking it's really cool to draw some of the different sea plants and corals that grow, because there's so many different bright colors. So toward the bottom, you could have some of those little coral pieces coming out. At the bottom of the tank, you could show just how there's all these funny little things that can be coming out of the corals. And there can be some like taller pieces that come up. And so you can just be adding those little things in to show that kind of coral reef stuff that's happening. It's all different colors and all different little shapes and squigglies. Some of them look like rocks and some of them look like plants. It's all stuff that's alive, which is pretty awesome that you would see in the sea. So we can draw just some of those little kind of rocky shells if you want. And then you can just put in some of the little things that grow off of those little wild things. So that's just another fun thing you can do. And so I'm going to keep adding some of those corals that are at the bottom, and I'm going to add more fish all through the water. Once you've added as much sea life as you would like, the plants, the corals, you know, fish, sharks, whatever, the last step is going to be to color in the water. So you're just going to gently color in around all of the different little creatures you made, and you're just going to be coloring in the water. And this will just make your little creatures pop out. It will show that the water is here behind the glass with all these cool little animals and fish that you created, and it really brings it all together once you get the water on. So you just want to make sure that you're not pushing too hard and that you are carefully coloring around the outside so you don't get them too much colored with the crayon. So you want to, like his white stripes, I want to be really careful around. So you're just going to be filling all of this in with your water. And once you've completed that, then your aquarium's going to be done. And I was careful to try to put in so many different colors of fish and jellyfish and turtles and things so that it had a lot of variety. Like, I didn't make all of my fish red. I tried to change it up a little bit. And now I'm just adding in that water. And you can do cute little details in the water, like you can have little lines behind to show they're swimming, or you could have little bubbles coming up, because that just adds a little bit of fun to your picture. And we're just going to continue adding in that water to every single drop of white space so we can see that they are not floating in the air, they are underwater. Already it's really starting to give the picture a lot more life, having that water, adding some of those swim lines and bubbles. And once you've got that done, you can again just be adding some little lines of the water kind of swishing behind the fish, and you can add some little bubbles if you want. And then you're really going to be finished with this awesome picture. So I just think that these look so cool. I love the perspective, how you can see how the floor is really big and then it goes smaller, smaller, smaller as people go down through the tunnel, seeing all the sea life that there is to see. And I can't wait to see what you create.